Well, today the Supreme Court weighed whether states can ban conversion talk therapy for minors. The case is out of Colorado, but both D.C. and Maryland have similar laws on the books that will be affected by the court's decision. Our chief legal correspondent, Katie Barlow, was inside the courtroom. So, Katie, what's the big takeaway here?
Oh, good evening, guys. It appears during oral argument today, a majority of the Supreme Court justices were skeptical of Colorado's ban on so-called conversion therapy for minors. The state says that they believe conversion therapy is ineffective and potentially harmful to kids. So state lawmakers banned licensed therapists from talking to child patients for the purpose of changing their gender identity or sexual orientation. Now, Kaylee Childs, a Colorado therapist, says that that law violates her right to free speech and her ability to engage with her patients.
And so we make a clear distinction, because our Constitution does, between freedom of speech and when the government regulates conduct. And I think that makes sense, too, right? When you're engaged in one-on-one conversations, why can the government come in and censor those, especially on topics that are so important, like sexual orientation and gender identity?
Jonathan Scruggs is with the Alliance Defending Freedom, a conservative legal group challenging Colorado's ban. And he's responding to a question that came up during oral argument, which is, why isn't this about states' rights? The state made a judgment call about what is permitted and not from people whom the state grants a professional license. Just last year, the Supreme Court upheld a Tennessee law banning gender-affirming health care for transgender minors, including prescribing hormone therapy. And in that case, Justice Clarence Thomas said, courts may not sit as a super legislature to weigh the wisdom of legislation. The court reserves to the people of Tennessee the right to decide for themselves. Not so for Colorado. And that's because Colorado's law focuses entirely on speech, according to the challengers. Colorado's Solicitor General disagreed with that point, saying the law simply prevents licensed therapists from providing one specific treatment that the state believes is ineffective and can be harmful.
I think as much as they try to claim they're doing this on behalf of kids, it's really clear that they are putting kids at risk by fighting these regulations on therapists. And these bans don't impact religious practitioners. They don't impact life coaches. So this is really about licensed mental health providers. These are healthcare professionals, and the state has the right to regulate their behavior.
Both D.C. and Maryland signed on to a friend of the court brief urging the justices to uphold Colorado's so-called ban on conversion therapy. They have similar laws on the books in D.C. and Maryland. We can expect a decision by late June.